I've been thinking a lot about the direction to take this channel lately, or more accurately, what my personal direction is. After my big Cult of Singapore video, I find myself at a loss and an inability to properly write scripts anymore. And I want to explore that. See, I don't know where I am. It's a confusing state I'm in, and it's partially because of the state of the world. The rise of misinformation and democratic backsliding has frankly taken over my mind. Even here in my own country, I can see the trickles of all that nonsense coming in. I had this whole skit plan where I was going to be like, wokeism has infected my country, but I couldn't fit it into a script. I couldn't properly explain the scenario. See, my goal with this channel has been to explore complicated topics through lenses of storytelling. It's to connect factual topics to an identifiable emotion, but that process requires me to understand what I'm talking about. And these past months, I found myself at a loss. I'm looking at topics that have underlying motives that I do not fully understand, and because of that, I can't properly talk about them. Radicalization pipelines, nationalism, anti-humanism, and just general heartlessness floating around in the discourse. People and topics are radicalizing in a way I've never seen before, and I don't feel like I'm asking the right questions anymore. The collective intelligence of the internet have already spent the better part of the last decade answering the complex questions that can be summed up as, why are people radicalizing? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of articles and videos breaking down every facet of that question, and a lot of them are very good. Some of them in the description, which surprised me that those explanations are no longer enough. I don't think the question, why are people radicalizing, the right one that we should be asking any longer. Something has shifted drastically in the discourse, and I'll tell you the moment that I noticed that personally. During the aftermath of the US election, there were a lot of trans kids online that were scared of what a Trump presidency would do to their access to healthcare. And I'm part of a lot of online mental health communities, and at that time, a lot of us came together to try to help. There were a lot of tough questions being asked. Some of them were related to, you know, ending things. And a lot of the community came together to do grassroots emergency counseling, what is effectively probably the only level of mental health care some of these kids are likely able to access. Because let's be frank, mental health care for LGBTQ people is just that shit in their part of the world. Internet across the world, public forums, emergency. It was that situation that we were working with. And it was in one of these threads where a kid was asking where to buy helium hoods that a reply appeared that caught my attention. Someone wrote, "Cry more liberal tears. Trump 2024." In a thread from a teenager child asking where to buy helium hoods. And one of the most striking thing about that post was that for a portion of my viewers, that's expected. We expect a portion of the population large enough to catch attention to do what is as close to an act of pure evil that I've ever experienced in my life. It's an expected thing now. And I don't know how we get there. Even though the post was quickly removed and the user banned by moderators, I can't forget it. I don't understand why someone would say that. How does someone get to the point of lacking so much empathy that they can just say that in a situation where a teenager, a child, was contemplating the ultimate end? How did we get to a place in society where a situation like that is a good time to score points with their side? which is why I can't help but feel that as a society, we're asking the wrong questions. So I went back and watched some of my old videos and read some of my old research to try to understand how to get an answer. Because so far, every video I've made granted me clarity on the question I was asking, enough to put it behind me at the very least and find a way forward. This channel has made me a better person. From the big videos, like why are there benches, how cults recruit, what are life coaches, to even the smaller stuff like why kill pangolins, what happened to Carly Fleischman, what's the point of death penalties. They've all made me a better person somehow. And I realized that to get better, one must be able to answer questions. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I want to answer this burning question inside of me of how one gets to that point, because the world is a confusing mess right now. Voices shouting everywhere, and I want to find a pattern, not the politics or the ideologies, just very fundamental questions of humanity. So starting next week, interspersed with my regular content to keep my mental health afloat, I'll be working on a new series. We'll ask some of those basic questions and why, as humans, do we do the things we do? And hopefully by the end of them, we'll solve those questions one at a time. But the questions we're asking, though so simple that likely even toddlers could think them, have incredibly complex answers and are more than a little controversial. So we'll need to put in some house rules to get ourselves over the finish line. We'll have to attempt to avoid politics, but due to the nature of the questions and the world, would be impossible to fully steer clear of. So politics and ideologies will only come into view as a last resort. We'll have to work as if they don't exist, while being fully cognizant of their existence. Whether or not viewers believe that is a good faith attempt is something we have no control over. And as long as we can sleep at night, that will have to be the low bar. The other rule will be to ignore misunderstandings and barrel on true, so long as it does not twist the facts or any errors are made. There will be no need to answer every question asked. Otherwise, the project will fall into an endless cycle of questioning its own errors. We'll also need to constantly source ourselves, be it inspiration or information, build upon the foundation laid by those before and strengthen their understanding. Lastly, all these are just my own opinion, and while they'll be as backed up by research as possible, it'll be philosophy, not physics. And if someone is coming here for an answer, that's not something we can easily provide at this time. It's going to be a journey, and at the end of this project, whenever that may be, we'll hopefully have an answer to the main question I set for myself today. So you're welcome along on my journey as I try to answer the question, why are people evil? Let's get started. Hey everyone, a short video today, a quick thank you to my patrons and a shout out to my first ever VIP patron, Oriole. The support has really helped me to keep this channel going. If you're a member and watching this video the day it's released, you should be seeing the first video of Why Are People Evil right now in your members feed, available for early access. I will do a better outro for future videos, but for now, this short one, I will see you next time. Bye.